I'm in a series of lectures here this year. Each year there's a different theme. This year the theme is kind of hidden artifacts that you probably wouldn't have looked at. People come to see the replica of Noah's Ark, they come to see the Gutenberg press, they come to see the basic artifacts in the center. So most of the artifacts I'm talking about this year are tucked away a little bit. However, this one is pretty obvious, and I hope you enjoy it. It is the Delk footprint. Here is a full life-size replication of it in high definition. David Lyons, who's behind that door in the AV room, David Lyons took this photograph. If you know what to look for, it is incredibly important. First of all, when you step in mud, the mud has to go somewhere. The mud directly under your foot or hand or whatever you place in mud. The mud is compressed. That's very important. It is compressed. But the mud on the sides has to be displaced. We call that the oversplash, but it's a displacement. If you will look very closely, you'll see displacement of the dinosaur track along the side here, but not over there. That gives us an idea whether it's a left or a right footprint. It's like when you step at all, we step on the outside. On the outside, if it's the right foot, it's on the. That's the reason your boot wears on the outside. We step on the outside, we transfer the weight along the lateral section of the medial arch, and then we transfer it to the medial section, the inside, and forward out the great toe and the other toes, just like that. We waddle without realizing. We go like that, not that pronounced, but that's how we get our forward locomotion. Did you ever watch somebody walk? It's a flowing miracle. I mean, all I'm doing is just putting one foot down and another foot down, but while I'm doing that, it's going like that, and it propels me forward. Everything about us is an absolute miracle. So, you can see the displacement, slight displacement here, but not here. So that tells us which foot it would be. Is it left or right? It's a left print. It's a left print because the displacement is here. He's going in this direction. The weight is primarily here. The displacement is there before you've anchored your profile. The displacement is there, and then it levels out there and goes forward like that. How do I know it went forward? Because something else had stepped ahead, had consolidated the mud inside, and as this creature went like that and went forward, he not only stepped on, but he protruded into and pushed into another upsplash or displacement. He displaced what was in the base of that other foot. Got it? And everything about it is important. So, this guy, whoever he is, whatever he is kind of a strange creature. There's displacement. We have displacement of his right toe, big toe, displacement between, displacement there. We have displacement here, which shows it was a left or a right. Well, a right, sure, you can see the big toe for one thing. Secondly, we have more displacement there than here. Remember, we step on the outside and the mud is undisturbed there, so it's going to displace. It's going to squish out a little bit. And in a moment you will see footprints doing that very thing. So everything about this is critically important. And count the toes with me. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Do you have 5 toes? So far, he might be your cousin or mine. Even if he is, he missed the boat. He didn't get on board in time. Now, notice the metatarsal arch running right through there. You have one of those. That is unique to man. Notice the second toe dips a little deeper than these other toes. Now there was some softer mud there for the great toe, but among the smaller toes, the second toe dipped a little deeper. That is unique to mankind. We're trying to determine if this is a human being, if it's for real. It's a scientific analysis. The second toe for human beings, first, the great toe is unique to mankind. The ape does not have a great toe. He has an opposable thumb, really. The second toe is the most sensitive of all the toes. It feeds more information neurologically to the brain than any other toe. So against resistance, such as walking in mud, against that resistance, it has a tendency to curl and to dip. And that is precisely what has happened here. Then we have the metatarsal arch, as I mentioned. We have the medial section of the longitudinal arch. Then watch this. We have the lateral section that runs in this line, but it skips over just a little bit there. Every tiny increment is important. You see on the outside of our feet, if you were to raise your foot up, don't do it. If you were to raise your foot up, the line would be rather level. But once we put weight on the foot, about 2/3 of the way up, this happens. It expands like that. So our footprint is wider than our foot because of that expansion. And that is precisely what has happened right there. Okay, and here are the spiral CAT scans demonstrating the following. You can carve a footprint, or you can get some pock marks in mud that look for the world like a human footprint. We call those ephemeral markings, nondescript. We're just not sure what they are, because no matter how good they look, unless you have a series involved to corroborate that it's more than just a depression, then it's not really scientific. So we need more than one. But there are other ways that we can determine if something is genuine. And it's the compression density underneath. You can carve a footprint, but you can't carve the compression that is made when you step there. Plus, you can't carve the change, the rocking motion, but we can read that with a spiral CAT scan. We can read the motion, the step, the transfer, and the step forward. We can determine that with spiral CAT scan. Isn't that neat? This is phenomenal. Everyone admitted there was no carving. If you carve a track, and by the way, back during the Depression, George Adams, who had discovered the first Acrocanthosaurus, decided, well, if I discover the first one, I can carve some new ones. Besides, you can sell them to the passersby for $20 to $40. That was a lot of money in the Depression. That's still a lot of money. You can laugh or say amen, depending on what's in your pocket. So he carved a number of them. Only his son-in-law and his daughter told me only 3 or 4 human footprints, 8 or 10 dinosaur prints he carved. But you can carve a footprint. And his son-in-law and his daughter told me how they did it. His son-in-law helped him. George Adams was deceased before I arrived. He used muriatic acid. He used coffee grounds to stain it. Wow. And he fooled a lot of people. But if you carve a track, you cannot fabricate the compression density under it. And it goes somewhere. It displaces. All of that can show under spiral CAT scan. You can't carve that. It has to be, if it has those features, it's genuine. So that is genuine and that is genuine.